And I mean, kudos to 5RAT, right? I was saying with the Doom pick, you got to make sure you take someone who's not shut down by the Doom, and they do a spectacular job of that. Of course, still looking at one last hero here, so maybe they throw Wildcard a bone here just to have a hero that can clearly be the target for the Doom to take that pressure off everyone else, but they don't necessarily need that option. And now if you're Wildcard, you are a little bit concerned. You see those offlane bans. They take away the Beastmaster, they take away the Primal Beast, so they are very much aware of the fact that if speed gets put onto that initiator, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think there's enough time for, let's say, Visage. I think the Beastmaster really would have been the best pick, and probably what they would have gone for if Wildcard drafted differently in that second phase, but I still think they're happy with the Pudge. I am racking my brain here, though. For a speed hero, don't think he wants to be on a Centaur. Don't think he wants to be on something that's very telegraphed. He also can't necessarily be on, let's say, Magnus, because, well, he's got a Pudge carry. You know, it doesn't make sense. Not going to use the Empower. So I am thinking here for speed, but speed's probably got his list of heroes as well. And whatever Wildcard end up going for in their safe lane, whether it's Doom safe lane or they go for something at the last second here, and they do go for Drow, that'll also affect Speed's choice.
Yeah, now you need someone who can sort of hit up that back line, because really their lineup only kind of works with the Pango. Maybe we see a Blink Dagger out from another member of the lineup, but without that, you do need some sort of gap closer. But as you said, looking at Speed's sort of usual hero pool, not too many obvious options, and Wildcard did do a pretty spectacular job of banning out like 4 or 5 potential offlane heroes along the way. But they've got 10 seconds left, ET, so they do have some time to think it over. But at this point, what's left in the pool that they're really looking at?
Well, at the end of the day, there's always Mars. And just do a Mars Rubik lane, and let's see. Yeah, well,
Not the most
he's
exciting.
still there. Nobody bans him out anymore. You know, it works. It just works. It's Mars Rubik. You lift him back, you spear him back even further. It just makes sense. And okay, a little bit of a switch up though. Nick takes the Mars, Speed takes the Rubik. I wonder if that's Nick feeling more comfortable on the Mars instead, but that is a complete role swap. Just at the last second here. Okay, I don't mind it necessarily, but maybe that's some discomfort from Nick on the 4 position, and then Speed just saying he's more okay with the Rubik, but that's a little bit of a weird one.
Yeah, we'll have to see if this is an actual positional change or just, as you mentioned, maybe some comfort with the hero picks. But that is the benefit of having Lil Nick in as a sort of long-term stand-in here. He's got experience in both positions, so maybe doing a little bit of flexing there. Meanwhile, on the wildcard side of things, it's pretty much what we expected. Drow with the 1, Ember 2. Sunlight will take the Doom into the off lane, and then Lee and Valior as the 2 supports. So, well, what do you think at this point, ET? Will Samson get the time? Will the Drow Ranger be the sort of savior here for wildcard, or do you think 5RAT have the means to stay in her face?
I definitely think 5RAT are going to be able to run at her, namely. But the question is really, how can 5RAT turn this lineup into a win? Because they're great at killing. They're great at slaying. Every hero is good at killing. They're just 3 pseudo-initiating heroes, great run-at-you heroes, a support duo that does a lot with very little XP, even though you'd love to be snowballing. The problem for 5RAT is going to be turning those kills into buildings. It's something that none of their heroes do well. It's where getting those objectives is where the game is going to really start to either slow up or speed down. Because if they get a tier 1 too early, if they get 2 tier 1s too early, that's when Wildcard's game becomes impossible. But if Wildcard can wait out the storm, buy time, cut the lanes, get their items, they've got great power spikes to play against. And as we have talked about countless times in this tournament already, if Wildcard get BKBs, 5RAT are done. All of their damage ceases. Then you're a rebuke during the team fight. It's where Wildcard just need to get to that point, and then they can fight 5RAT on even footing. If they never get to that point, though, then 5RAT get the easy win. But that's where we're going to see that fine line drawn.
A waiting game for wildcard and, well, a little bit of a timer for 5RAT. We'll see how it plays out. As of right now, though, as you can see on your screen, we are kind of paused in the draft screen itself. So little bit of a longer wait. Not 100% sure. Maybe someone just AFK'd or went to the bathroom in the draft. That happens more often than you'd kind of think it does, but there we go. Unpausing now, and we should be loading in momentarily. So, as a reminder of where we stand for the teams, 5RATFORCESTAFF looking for 1 win to guarantee a tiebreaker, 2 wins to make it to the playoffs outright. And on the wildcard side, needing at least 2 wins across their final 4 games here to even have a chance at avoiding elimination. So, well, it's going to be risky, ET, but you laid it out, right? If they hit the timing, if they find the items, wildcard have, I wouldn't call it guaranteed safety, but definitely a moment where they can start to take control of the game and maybe get themselves a win here.
Yeah, it's where they get to play Dota, where 5Rat's lineup is very adept at not allowing you to play Dota, where they're just gonna run at you, they're gonna be annoying. It's gonna be wildcard dealing with aggression pretty much the entire time. It's also where those little plays, those 1 or 2 core pickoffs that you're going to try to hash together with Velior are going to be everything. Every death for 5Rat is gold stacked on top of gold that wildcard will need to actually win this game. And every time they miss, well, it's gonna get punished. It's where I wouldn't be surprised 20 minutes into this game, 5Rat have twice as many kills as Wildcard, but it's all gonna take maybe 1 team fight win for Wildcard, and then the table flips. It's that type of game.
Well, early on, both teams moving out across the map, getting a little bit of vision on the board here. Of course, Wildcard don't really know it, but their maneuver is entirely scouted out by the early ward that Speed threw down, so they're not particularly sneaky here, but
I offer rare kindness.
5Rat's move is not to go straight at this, right? You kind of give up the game if you just run straight at your opponents with that vision. So instead, they're just going to sort of stack up mid, see just how far the wildcard heroes will go. You see DNM, he's already skilled up the hook, and he's going to be able to find it right away onto Velior. And yeah, not a whole lot to be done there. You throw out 1 slow, and then you're kind of done in the fight. So, first blood goes the way of 5Rat.
Yeah, and then they ping the ward. They know what happened. It's nighttime. It's Pudge. You know, things like this will happen. But at least you didn't give the bounty over to said Pudge. Not like DNM's gonna come to lane with a ring of health.
Yeah, Speed was able to nab it, and it does appear that no funny business here. It was just players swapping heroes. Rubik not really looking at a core build there, so well, it works. And as we said, this is the benefit of basically having 2 heroes with offlane experience in your lineup. You can make switches like this if it's more comfortable for you.
No, it will feel pretty alright. And maybe, you know, at the end of the day, Speed was just like, it's a boring lane. And it is not a very fun lane. Both of them are just going to be running away from the tree and cutting as many trees as they can. And then when they're done cutting trees, they're just going to get orb blocked by a drow. So, you know, not the most exciting lane in the entire world. Because, of course, when you cut all these trees, well, guess what? Mars can't spear to anymore. So, you know, probably see Nick get a good few more points in the Rebuke.
Yeah, that is sort of the downside here, but hey. More points in Rebuke maybe means more farm. If this lane just gets boring and stable, then at least your Mars is not going to be falling behind. Samson, though, I mean, you're laning with a Treant Protector, right? So he's going to be enjoying himself in terms of what he can find unless they make a pretty sizable mistake.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Once we get a few more levels, then this lane becomes lethal. But for now, just farming.
Farming in the top lane. Meanwhile, mid, Kits in red 2. Trading a little bit of damage here. You see Kits with the early point up in the Flame Guard. It's maybe a little bit of stability, and also, of course, the ability to maybe push this wave out a little bit. Match the sort of AoE damage that the Pango brings to the table. It's still not quite a fair fight, right? Level 1 Flame Guard versus the entirety of Pango's kit, but helps make up some of the difference.
Yeah, and it is pretty much an all-out draw. It's where once one support decides to rotate mid and kill a water rune, we might see that divide form a little bit, but it is an incredibly even matchup. A matchup that Kits does win. Ember Spirit is a slightly stronger hero, has a few more power spikes on those early levels, and then, of course, has infinite regen once he gets level 6, but until that point, he's just going to try to bully Red 2 as much as he can.
Yeah. Small gap, but It's a lead for Kits at the moment. And then looking out of the bottom lane just in time, DNM able to move his way in there. There's that setup that we talked about in the draft. It's exceptionally simple to pull off. You just get the slow, you get the root, you get the hook, and regardless of what order you go in ET, if you hit all the abilities, even someone like Sunlight on the Doom, who's supposed to be pretty tanky here, was not able to get away.
Yeah, it's just so much magic damage, and that was also a point in the laning stage where he doesn't have Flesh Heap yet on DNM, so that was probably their best bet for a return kill, because I feel like now he should be able to stabilize things. He's got his Ring of Health almost done as well, so I don't know, this lane only gets easier for Pudge, but AB1 does need to get some Mangs coming out on the courier, though, before they get another round of fighting.
Yeah, not really working with any regen anymore, outside of a couple of stick charges, so they'll cool it on the aggression for now. That just means DNM continues to focus on last hits, 19-2 so far, so it's been a relatively fun time for him, and outside of the occasional concussive shot, there's not really a whole lot I think Wildcard are willing to commit to try and harass him, because Sunlight has a point in the Infernal, but if you go all in like that, you're going to get slowed up by both the Rot and the Nova, and then you may not get back out.
Yeah, it is a good harassing tool, though, and it's where Doom eventually becomes very solid versus Pudge, because you have that max HP as damage, but until we see this game go a little bit later, it shouldn't matter too much. But there they go, but he pops Flesh Heap, and then they all walk away.
Not a whole lot of options at that point. In the meantime, back to mid, Red 2 takes a little bit of a trip out of the lane, goes and steals his opponent's bounty rune up in that north side jungle, so it takes him out of lane for a little bit longer, ET, but it's a free bottle refill.
It's very annoying. Both these mid laners they've just played versus each other so many games, so it's funny to see them back in the same situation. But Kits does get his orb out just a little bit faster than Red 2 does, but it's back bottom with a kill. Again, simple setup. It's real simple, but it's just going to keep on working. Now it's nighttime. It's going to be even harder to tell when you're getting aggressed upon by the rats.
That's the hard part here for Velior, because he would love to step out of lane, block some camps, grab some runes, maybe even just stack in his own jungle, but if you get far enough away from the Doom, it's such a simple setup. You're a Skywrath mage. You don't survive that combo. So as much as he would love to move around and make other plays happen, you have to be so extremely careful about where and when you actually do it.
I am slightly surprised, though. AB1 giving a lot of XP over to DNM, just trying to get that Dismember on as fast as possible. It's where the lane becomes unmanageable for the Doom until the Doom actually has Doom, and then maybe we could see the Ember coming over, but it's been a pretty great XP spread, because DNM, he's level 5 right now. He is pretty much raring to go. And look at this. 6-minute runes, support's moving, Belhor's on the bottom rune, Remnant's placed, and Red 2 gets lucky. No contest.
And
he's going top,
haste,
okay.
Yep. He says, this is my moment. I've got my ult. I got a haste rune. What more could you ask for? Yeah, well, you could ask for a kill on the other side of the map. DNM's able to get onto Sunlight again, and yeah, they did spot this, so Flea's just going to try and book it out of this lane. Kind of cheating when you can just walk through the trees, but hey, that's the power of the Train Protector, so... Bad news, haste rune doesn't get you anything. Good news, the Ember Spirit didn't get to have a haste, and Pudge is basically completely dominating this lane down bot.
Yeah, they're going real aggressive.
That may have been a little too much.
Could be worse.
He's so tanky. Just doesn't care.
Yeah, and that's kind of the name of the game here for Dan, and that's why they picked it up. But they are going to get more annoying, and yeah, Sunlight, he's going to pay for that a little bit. Look at that. It's the silence while the Rot is on. Got to be so careful when you don't have Flesh Heap, otherwise that happens. And with Kits coming over, well, the Doom doesn't have Doom, but that's a free kill. And they want a little more, but yeah. Scan misses, Kits realizes, maybe I should be back mid, and then he leaves.
Comes in, grabs a freebie, gets away. Velior kinda sorta tracking, but doesn't have the damage to do this by himself. And with speed TPing in, now he's in trouble of actually... Yeah, he's in danger of just getting straight up caught out, but there's the rub with that play. You saw the lift trying to go as far to the left as possible because DNM needed a clean shot for the meat hook, and he couldn't get it.
Yeah. Unfortunate they don't get to keep on snowballing, but, you know, fortunate for Wildcard. They get a little bit of room. They get out of that situation. Suddenly makes it away with a full creep wave. And he's just greeding out for the Midas. He's just doing the normal build, but always is funny to see. But like we said earlier, 2 deaths, 3 deaths, 4 deaths, doesn't matter. He's doomed. He's going to farm. He's going to devour creeps. He's going to recover.
Got that just built-in, built-in source of income, but getting a little bit scary here. Multiple heroes moved into that jungle, but not going to commit for the fight. AB1, though, does throw down the sentry optoward as well, so the vision and the block. Just trying to make sure nobody's going to be able to get anything for free off on that side of the map. In the meantime, ET, speed is... well, he's here. He's spotted, but if they can, if they can see Flea, they can just go straight in for him. So, Treant in some trouble. He'll look for the TP out, actually, recognizing there's only, well, okay. I was going to say only one form of lockdown there initially, but if the Pango's willing to ult for it, then more power to him. They find the kill, but now Kits comes over. They don't really have the damage to go onto him, so time for everybody to back away, but they do find the kill.
No, they find a kill. Red 2 gets his revenge. He didn't get to use Rolling Thunder top, so ends up working out for him. And perfectly played with the rolls. Knocks the Ember Spirit around to disable his Flame Guard, and he runs out of damage for the play on his speed. So real clean stuff.
2 looking pretty good here. We'll see what he looks for in terms of offensive itemization, because I believe that's just his Arcane Boots coming out to him right now. Yeah. So, getting the utility first, then we'll see about some actual damage output. But it's coming along quite nicely. Second highest net worth, only behind his laning opponent right now is Kits. Kind of in a similar boat, AT. We'll see what he looks for, if it's just going to be the Maelstrom play, or if he feels like he wants to go for the not quite naked BKB, but would still be a bit of a rush in terms of the item choice if he does go for it.
Oh, and they want the NM on the wave here. They want to use Doom, but without creeps, it's a little bit too much of a dive for him. Meanwhile, this is going on. Flea's going down top, so the setup is there. Mid lane is empty. I think pretty quickly 5RAT are recognizing that, yeah, something is wrong. The Ember Spirit's not pushing mid. We're not pushing mid. Something's not happening, so the bottom lane is just turtling up. They're sitting under their tier 1.
Yep. We're not there. You're not there. Someone's supposed to be there, so gets a little fishy. And then, of course, finding Flea entirely alone in the north side jungle meant nobody was up there either. So only so many places that the opposing heroes can be. Kits, though, initially gave up on it, right? Pushed back into the river, but with the DD rune, you see him still kind of, prowling around, but he gets pulled in by the hook. There's going to be the Dismember. AB1 holding the Frostbite. Do they have enough damage for this, though? They need a little bit more, but they don't manage to get it. But honestly, ET, I'm just kind of surprised that the hook landed in the first place.
Yeah, no. It's just free fired. It was into a bunch of units as well, but just curved it around, and they get Flea again top. So now, kind of all hands on deck here. You don't really want to lose this building for free, but there's a cart. Your Treant's dead. Flea's definitely going to have to try and make this defense happen, but then everybody on 5RAT TP mid? Okay. They leave the Mars alone, but Flea actually doesn't have TP, and he doesn't have living armor. And Nick let the cart die. Okay, never mind.
He's just going to take some
here or there.
At it. Yeah. Unfortunate, but I think at that point, once they committed to the multiple TPs away, they really just resigned themselves to not getting it. But now Nick, in a little bit of trouble, gets hit up by the Mystic Flare. It's not enough to take him down, though. He will get the stun. Could he just go for the TP? Not enough mana for Searing Chains. Nick obviously doesn't know that, can't see his opponent, so he's just going to try and cut his way through the tree line, but that's not going to work out for him. Kits gets the kill. Tower's still safe. They do need to be a little bit careful of this, though. Speed and Red 2 are coming. Rolling Thunder's ready. They don't want to dive that still standing tower.
Well, and they get to walk Flea all the way back up top, so the Treant remains, even though the Treant is currently treeless, so not very sneaky, but he will still pull the creeps nonetheless and be annoying. Man, that's all you really need from your Treant. Even though he did get robbed of the tome, so Flea's going to need to hunt for his level 6 top, but it did result in them being able to kill Nick, so still good on Wildcard.
Nick's coming bot. They're looking for the arena. There's the Tumbler's toy. The poor man's Blink Dagger helping him out, and well, that's a big kill onto Sunlight and a big kill for Nick. He had been doing Okay, but just kind of okay in that top lane, right? Obviously didn't get the tower when he wanted, but able to make a rotation, find a pick, take over bot. Maybe now's not a great time to be taking over bot, though, because Kits and Velhor are on the attack. They've already taken down. Already taken down the CM, but well, they don't get Nick. And then on the other side of the map, DNM goes on to Flea again. Flea's not having fun. He is still not 6 and died 4 times, ET.
Yeah, no, it's been a little bad. And I think just unfortunately for Wildcard, they're just a step behind the play onto Nick Bottom, the revenge play. So they really end up with nothing. And DNM is one component away from his Ags. And well, okay, it's no Parker Vanguard Hood Ags at 15 minutes. It's no 9K Pudge, but, you know, it's pretty good. It's going to be like a 14.5-minute Ags for the Pudge. It's a very fearsome timing. It's also going to stop Wildcard from really wanting to take a jab at any of these buildings, because DNM's going to TP in, he's going to walk at you with Radon, and then, as we talked about in draft, what does Sunlight do? Doom him? He doesn't care. He's still going to run at you. He's still going to just walk you down.
A little bit of a scuffle there mid, but nothing too much to come of it. I do want to know, though, for DNM here, once he's got the Agnum Scepter, would love to see whether or not he actually does go back to finish the Vanguard, because we have seen a couple of Pudges, when they get that lane control, basically skip it. It just turns into kind of a casual Ring of Health that isn't upgraded, and it takes away from a little bit of your durability, which 9 times out of 10 ET, it doesn't matter, because if you're far enough ahead to skip it and go for the Ags, your team is very much winning the game, but it is going to be a concern. This is a concern as well. Red 2 taking the full brunt of the Mystic Flare, but it's not enough for the kill initially. Kits, though, max out Sleight of Fist, gets the job done, and that is a big kill for them, but it can't come at this cost. Samson's getting jumped on the other side. And Nick and AB1 don't have the craziest damage output in the world here, but they should be able to, to finish it with the Freezing Field, but Kits turns it into a 2-for-1, jumps onto speed, and okay, now it looks a little bit better. The loss of the Drow is rough, but 2 kills for your Ember puts him in a very solid spot.
Yeah, Kits are snowballing a little bit. He's making those plays with Velhor that he needs to make that also prop up Velhor. They make the Skywrath Mage feel more impactful. He's already got maxed out Ancient Seal, but the more levels he gets, the closer he gets to level 12, that's even more damage. It's faster damage. It's safer damage. You get your kill. You get to walk away. It's where we're not really going to see very many defensive tools coming out, really, from any of the 5RAT members just yet. They're probably going to have a lot of BKBs queued up after these items are finished. But I think the big difference is 5RAT need to get on the offensive. If they initiate first, if Red 2's already rolling, it's not like the Skywrath Mage can silence him in that situation. It's not like he can get doomed. Really, the only thing he has to worry about still is the overgrowth. But we just need to see that initiative come from 5RAT, and then the Pengu can play. But until then, they got a little bit sloppy. Same with the Mars, with the picks that they have given to Wildcard. It's given them some hope. And here we go again. Smoked up. Arcane Rune picked up for Kits. They're looking for picks. Great scan, though, but it might hit anyway. Look at this.
Oh, he missed.
Yeah.
And now does DNM want the fight? Yes, he does. He's going to look straight for Velhor, looking for the support trade-off here, and they do manage to get it. Nick's spear didn't actually latch, though, so Kits is trying to walk away, but he does get rooted, pulled back in by the hook. And they'll take him down, and oh boy, without those Searing Chains, without that instant kill on the support, things get very, very awkward for Wildcard. Now, Flea, I don't think you can hold this. He did throw a Living Armor down. That's great, but 3 or 4 heroes hitting on it, they're still going to lose the tier 1. Yeah. Worth a try if you're Flea, but not enough.
Yeah, a little bit too hard, but I think Wildcard's, their playmakers kind of blew up in their
Samson.
face. Yeah, oh, he's in the arena. It's a great gust, but how much will it actually matter? They need to get the Treant over in time, but here we go. Looking for it.
Yeah, Freezing Field's doing some work. Red 2's able to find the kill in the end. Nick is dropping low himself, trying to hide out on the little cliff here, but while that went down, Sunlight did put the Doom on the Pudge. There's that rot play you were sort of talking about. It eventually kind of works out for them, and they cancel the TP. Red 2 has to curl up, trying to somehow get himself out of here, but I don't know if he has the movement. Well, he certainly doesn't if the Overgrowth comes into play. Not during the Rolling Thunder, but it still helps them find the kill, and Well, once again, Samson goes down, but Wildcard don't really care. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but you make it a 3-for-2 trade and very clearly win the exchange.
Yeah, just a little bit too far forward, and again, the gust from Samson, it blew the team fight wide open. It took too long to kill the Drow, and then you have to retreat. You even get a fantastic Rolling Thunder hit onto the Treant. I mean, the other Overgrowth doesn't even come out in that fight, but it's the threat of the Treant running at you. Plays a Blink Dagger now. Like, they got so much gold from that fight. That was the team fight blowing up in their face, and the team fight that Wildcard, not only do they need, but 5RAT cannot afford to lose. They lose one more fight like that, then Drow has a real item. Then you start farming, and it gets picked off, fighting underneath their own vision. I mean, these picks, it's sloppy. Sloppiness that 5RAT can't afford with how difficult it is for them to push these objectives. I mean, sure, you got the tier 1 mid, but you've only got 2 tier 1s in this game. You have no real easy way to swing for Roche. We're running out of objectives for 5RAT to easily take right now. We're going to be in a farm fest. And of course, a farm fest, we've already brought up, is what Wildcard need. So, I don't know. This pace is not a welcome sign if you're a 5RAT fan.
Definitely going in a direction that their opponents are far more comfortable with, but the 5RAT's lineup still has some power, right? They've still got a lot that they can work with here, but they've got to regain the initiative, and while taking a look at the itemization, this could certainly help. DNM's looking for his BKB. Blink Dagger nearly finished for Red 2, so they're going to be able to hit a little bit harder. They're going to have to care a lot less about a lot of that lockdown, as Nick is working on his BKB as well, and that'll be the kicker, because as you pointed out very correctly, the gust in that last play, or 2 fights ago now, I guess, messed up the timings. With BKBs in hand, you don't really care about that. You can still get directly onto the Drow and kill her quickly, and then at that point should be able to control the fight. His speed, he's on a bit of a scouting mission here, but it is going to cost him his life. Can he take the wards out first? He can take the Obs ward out at least. Doesn't get the sentry, but at least he grabs something. But that is going to be a kill for Wildcard, and they're going to look to smoke up in the immediate aftermath of that. They know, oh, the Rubik's down. There's less defensive power on the 5RAT side, but who can they find? They'd love Red 2, but he just picked up, well, a haste rune that he's not going to get the chance to pop, so very nicely played. Sunlight has that War Stomp, so they get him, they find the kill, now they can pressure the tower, and ET, I mean, this is the doomsday scenario if you're 5RAT.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not nice. And I guess the good news for 5RAT, while it is still only a 1k gold differential here, is that their initiation becomes much easier when Wildcard are stringing themselves out to get these buildings and push out of their own base. It makes the team fight a lot easier for 5RAT to take. But they do have to take it. They do have to actually get up onto these Wildcard heroes. But I'm just worried because those BKBs, they're coming out. Wildcard are going to have 3 of them pretty soon. And sure, 5RAT are going to have 2 of them to come against that. But they're defensive BKBs for Wildcard and they're offensive BKBs for 5RAT. Wildcard are just going to try to walk away from you in a lot of these situations. And really what I expected to be a much more difficult game is just not happening right now. Wildcard are just kind of walking away with it.
Real kind of low and slow play style through the first 20 minutes here, but if it works, more power to them. But, well, they want to try and make this happen. 2 of the 3 BKBs are done. I think Kits is coming out right now. There it is. Yeah, so all 3 BKBs up and running. 5-man smoke. And away we go into the north side jungle looking for some targets. Closest one is AB1. That is not the hero that they want here for a 5-man smoke, but it's an easy kill and they're going to take it.
Yeah, definitely not ideal. Not who they were looking for. They're probably trying to find DNM before he finished the BKB, but he does have that BKB, so even that kill would have been a little bit more difficult. But Wildcard have the initiative. They want to make plays. I mean, Samson's just in this tier 1. He's got the Grove Bow, he's got the Lance, got lucky. He is the ultra ranged hero right now, and it's just going to start to work. Speed is set up for maybe a team fight to break out top, and he's in a pretty great position, but looks like the play will die down, and Samson decides he's been away from the Ancients too long. So back to farming.
Not committing fully for the tower, but at this point, yeah, if it's just the drow pushing, it's not really worth putting yourself at risk when, as you said, there's a whole lot of ancients just sitting there waiting to be farmed, so... Drow's looking good. Still not quite cracking that sort of top 3 area, but farm is nice. Did he actually just purchase the shard? It is, there we go. It's in the quick buy for now, so gonna get those hypothermia stacks up there. Really just start messing around with the 5RAT's game plan if you can get those stacks going. And we do see 5RAT now finally trying to make a move themselves. It's been, well, several minutes now since we've seen them go on the offensive, but what do they find? They are going to pop on Flea. They don't really know he's there, though. Blinks away, maintains his invis because he's got a shard to just kind of keep on walking. And now what's going on here? Samson just kind of wanders in. BKB active, though, so he does survive the burst. Nick, that doesn't work. BKBs were still up, so the Drow is going to be able to get away. They will take down Velyor, but Red 2 still trying to chase. Rolling Thunder is helping him keep close, but now he's going to get silenced by the Gust. Now he's in trouble. Just slowed up. No backup. He went all in for this kill. And now he's just got to desperately TP away. Can they hit him up? Oh. No, they can't. The disarm was still on Flea. So Red 2 gets away, ET, but you lost your Pudge. You lost the Crystal Maiden, and Velyor is the only person that they were able to actually pick off.
Yeah, it's the perfect lucky shot to stop that shard from connecting. You know, Speed, he's also a bit of an escape artist, but it might be over now. And yeah, he will get taken down. But still not the fight 5RAT are looking for. No decisive victory, just taken down early. They don't get their long engagement. They don't get to connect with too many of their team fight abilities. And they don't kill a single wildcard core. It just feels like the lineup is going to start to melt now. Because we are still playing with Samson having Yasha BKB. He has no damage items. Once he starts to look at items like Silver Edge, Scotty, Butterfly, I mean, we've got a huge problem on the horizon.
And he did get that shard up and running in the aftermath of that fight, so frost arrows are going to hurt that much more. And yeah, once Samson decides, hey, let's start hitting a little bit harder, let's itemize for damage, 5RAT are going to be hard-pressed to do anything about it. Although I will say they still have the means to close the gap, but as you saw in that last team fight, the window's just too long. I mean, Nick had the great positioning, great timing to drop the arena, but the BKB was too long, right? So your Drow still walks out of it. That means Red 2 has to overextend trying to chase it. Maybe that problem doesn't come up if this BKB gets all the way down to 6 seconds ET, but you have to get the BKB down there first, which obviously is much easier said than done. They're gonna try
this. Yeah. Smoke up. Looking for a play, and okay, they're gonna try and force the Roche. With the Lucky Shot procs, you know, it's not the best, it's not the worst. Almost feel like AB1 would want to freezing field this, but it is, at the very least, happening. And Wildcard seem to not know that this is going on. They've got vision here. They've got no scan either, so I feel like this should just be a free Aegis, but this doesn't really change too much. This is gold in 5RAT's pocket, and maybe a little bit more confidence on a hero like DNM, but other than that, it's just more gas in the tank for a team fight that they still need to definitively win.
Well, at least they get it. 2 lives up. Gives them a slightly better chance in these fights, but where will that fight come is the question. There's a little bit of pressure being applied in the bottom lane as Kits is... well, he's not hitting the tower, but he's at least keeping the creep wave pushed up, so just poking, prodding, seeing where 5RAT's defenses are at the moment. In the meantime, the 2 supports are hanging out mid, and, well, I don't know about this play. Flea's going to drop the overgrowth, but maybe a little overconfident, right? They're trying to set up for the Mystic Flare play, but 2 supports against 2 or 3 heroes on the other side is not great for you.
Yeah, and he just gave speed overgrowth. So, gotta be real careful if you're Kits here in this upcoming fight. I don't want to pop your BKB too early and then get overgrowthed on by the Rubik. A steal that I don't know if they're aware of either, and like I said, we'll have to see. But 5RAT are getting onto some of these objectives. They're starting to get a little bit more confidence, again, built up mainly from this Aegis, even though DNM doesn't have his BKB right now, so he's not wholeheartedly battle ready, but perhaps assuming that Wildcard aren't going to want to fight top, but Flea's in. He's up here. He's going to try to be annoying, but nobody else on Wildcard are really making a movement just yet.
Slowly but surely, they'll get the tower. Lee decides, yeah, let's not be here anymore. Backs off. Plays it safe, just doing Treant things at this stage, but now is where Wildcard may look to make a move. The Pudge is separated a little bit. He's very quickly moving back over towards his teammates, but this would be where you would love to just get in, find a quick kill on that first life. That's exactly what they're going to do. But Nick does get in, drops the arena into the spear. The Rolling Thunder comes in, just bouncing the Doom around, but there's that BKB. Overgrowth, though, does come in, so he's still stuck in the fight, now pulled back by the hook into the Dismember, and, well, most of the time, you know, your BKB keeps you safe, but that stolen Overgrowth now finally revealed helps them set up for technically still a trade-off, right? Aegis for Sunlight, but they do find the pick.
And didn't have to use the BKB either, so really, they're pretty happy with that setup. Now they've just got to peel back, make sure the Pango nor the Mars get gone on. They just need to make sure the weak heroes are in relatively safe positions, and the other heroes can do kind of whatever they want. Mid, though, speed, the combo, it happens. This vision in the night finally pays off. Wildcard have been gunning for this play for the past, really, 2 or 3 minutes, but finally, it ends up connecting.
And DNM, well, he gave it a shot. Tried to throw out a hook there. Not sure if it was supposed to be aimed at the Ember or Velhor or Skywrath, but it misses both, and at that stage you're just kind of happy that DNM then walks away and doesn't really get caught up in anything further. But Wildcard wanted that play. They get the play. There's not too much they can do immediately after that pickoff. This tier 2 tower was already finished off a little while back, so can't turn it into objectives, but the fact that they have so much control of the map right now is quite nice for them, because Samson just keeps on farming. Upgraded the Lance into the Pike, and now you do see a little bit of that emphasis on the damage coming into play, looking at his quick buy.
Now, he is ready to start chunking through these heroes. The cores still maintain the top 3 net worth spots. Support's definitely fallen behind, but it's kind of what happens here. Don't really have too many easy farming mechanisms. Is this top? Oh, Nick. Okay. Dead to rights. He has to get away, but still got a BKB for us. And these BKBs are starting to really slim down. I think now Nick is on a 6. Yeah. Pudge is on a 7. These team fights are getting shorter where you're safe. It's where you need to have some more relative strength kind of in the back cooking. It's where I'm also looking over at DNM, and no overwhelming blink. He's going for a Lincoln's. No real armor, either added armor. And of course, versus Drow, armor is not really a factor, but not too much beef that you're going to be getting either. It's just trying to deal with the Doom now.
And unfortunately, that brings us back to the point I was sort of talking about before, where the Pudge almost lanes too well, decides, you know what, I don't really need the Vanguard. Now you're kind of wishing that you had it, just so you have that little bit of extra durability in these fights. But the problem is, if you go back for a Vanguard now to finish this off 30 minutes in, that doesn't really feel great either. So you're just kind of stuck in between.
Yeah, and it is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You get too much raw HP, you build a heart, something like that. Well, then you die to Infernal Blade. Great. If you build armor, well, marksmanship's got a proc. So there's just no good way to go late game versus the wildcard heroes. It's just where the matchups start to fall apart, where you're so much better earlier on into this game. We've just gotten outside that window. At least Red 2 still building himself up really fantastically. He's got a full Ags. As soon as he gets a Basher, he's going to be a magnitude stronger. But it still feels like 5RAT are not finding what they need in this game. And Wildcard, they're back in the aggressive. They're looking for another nice and easy play here with Velhor. They would love to kill whoever shows on this mid wave. But now Samson just showed. Cleared out the creep wave with the multi-shot. So they're trying to hold this high ground at least a little bit, but everyone's found.
Turns around, drops a root, but not going to do... Ooh, hold on. Too much for him. Good attempt from Speed there. Trying to use the lift offensively, but yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, Kit says, I saw that telekinesis. I know you're nearby. And hell, he's got 5 charges, so might as well just remnant his way in there to pick off both supports and a tier 2 tower on top of it and maybe a plan to DNM. There's the jump in. They've got the root. Is there follow-up, though? Not yet. And they don't want to go all the way in, although Kits, I mean, look at him go. The man is showing basically no fear right now, and I mean, he's got his BKB, so I suppose the confidence is warranted, but really single-handedly keeping 5RAT on the back foot.
Nah, it's just the Arcane Rune. He just knows. He's real annoying. He's got it. He knows that he could just kind of do whatever he wants in this situation, but still, he could just get Blink Dismembered, you know, randomly, but he feels the confidence with his teammates behind him, but this is still not a great spot to be in. Samson finally has a crit now, so that damage is going to start to multiply. Interestingly enough, buys a Sange and Yasha. Really not a great item, but, you know, could be worse. Seeing its heyday, you know, where every carry was buying it off cooldown, but I think this is where Wildcard, they're not confident enough to go high ground versus 5RAT. It's too easy for the team fight to just start in their favor. So instead, it looks like Wildcard are just going to wait for that second Roche instead, try to play as much of the map as they can. They've already moved their vision up here, so they're just looking to keep 5RAT blind while waiting for the Roche to respawn.
Yeah, fair enough, considering the position Wildcard are in. Not just in this game, but in the standings, desperately needing points. You can understand the cautious approach here. You just have to make sure we don't get from cautious to maybe dragging your feet too much. If they're still not looking for a play after the second Roche, then we revisit the topic. But for now, they can't afford to blow this lead, so they're doing everything in their power to avoid it.
No,
Although-
oh my goodness. That is a 10-second Roche timer. They don't even know the Roche is going to be alive here, but they're going to get a speed kill on top of everything. I mean, as soon as they look back over to the pit, they do have to physically walk back over there, but this is their opportunity. This is kind of the moment right now. All they have to do is get a hero in there, as well as, look at this. They're setting up on DNM. They're flipping the map. They get one pick bottom, say, okay, Rubik just died bottom. Guys, go back top, push out the lanes, do something real quick. And DNM is set up here. This is such a great play from Wildcard. They don't know about his Lincolns, though, so the Doom will not go off. They have to go that extra step. And Velkior, with that ward, they're kind of losing their play. Yeah.
And DNM actually makes the move first. They're going to try and jump in onto the Doom, hitting up Sunlight. Can they take him down free Doom? Well, yes, they can. Sunlight gets taken out. DNM, though, running out of time with the BKB. Needs some backup. The Overgrowth is going to lock him down, though. Does he have any way out? No, he doesn't. Kids picks up the kill. Now they're onto the Crystal Maiden as well. Silenced up, rooted in place, taken down. A proc from the Maelstrom shows Red 2 in the trees.
Sorry.
Ooh. I mean, they had to have vision on him anyway for that to proc, but it confirms it. And now, oh, Nick gets his TP canceled. Mystic Flare doesn't kill him, but now he can't go anywhere.
Oh, boy. And that was Hex Reveal. That's what started that playoff onto the Doom. But you just lose it. You have to pop your BKB so much earlier. And the Doom, honestly, was probably hovering over his buyback, but Wildcard just take the fight without him? I mean, it's just too easy. And then Samson walks into Roche. He's got a full Daedalus. He's going to have an Aegis. He's going to pass the shard to somebody else. Somebody that's not the Ember Spirit. But, man, it just keeps on getting worse.
Yeah, they both have their shard already, so
It's just the Skyearth gets his shard now. It looks like, which is funny because it's an interesting shard, definitely different, but it's just where everybody's already got theirs already, so might as well use it.
get yourself a free gift there if you're Valhor. Congratulations, happy birthday or whatever. It's not his birthday, but you know what I mean. He's got an upgrade, a little bit tougher. Will it factor in? Probably not, but it does make him technically stronger than he already was, so why not?
3 armor hero can gain armor now, you know, it's cool. It's definitely paired up with like the Ags build where, you know, you have multiple
Right.
silences, multiple whatever, and you know, then of course you get more stacks of armor, but it's a weird one. It's something that a lot of players don't really get to see usually, but the rest of the lineup is still building up strength. They just keep getting stronger. Kits is looking at a refresher. Flea's looking at a refresher. I wouldn't be surprised if Sunlight's looking at a refresher, but he decides to actually halt up the build, gets an Aeon disc. which is a fantastic item in this game. Nobody's getting a nullifier on 5RAT ever, aside from maybe the Mars after, they win a team fight and get 5k gold somehow, but even then, that's not the item that Nick's going to want either. He probably wants a refresher, so it just is a killer item to pick up here for Sunlight. Keeps it disassembled as well, waiting for his moment, but...
Right.
5RAT, they're trying to get out, but they're just standing on a lane ward, and look at this, Blink gets disabled, fight gets initiated, but...
The Hex is there. Oh, they need follow-up, and D&M decides, I don't actually want to be in there, but it's too late. You've already sort of decided. The Overgrowth is committed, and they're all locked in place. They've lost 3 already. There's a buyback from Speed, but by the time he's back in the fight, D&M's already been taken down, and... Well... Yeah, wires crossed, miscommunication perhaps. Nick goes in. The rest of the team was very, very much not ready.
Yeah, and you hover over buybacks and you say, well, nope. Nope. We do not have buybacks. This is at least going to be 2 lanes before you're really going to see another great contest. But it sucks. This is no position to be in. This is not what 5RAT wanted with their draft. This isn't a stage of the game that we've been planning on being in. They're just stuck here now.
And for Wildcard, finally, the feeling of being in control of these matches. They had dropped quite a few in a row, I believe, as well, in this event. But now they're in the driver's seat, and they're looking to close out. Getting onto Speed, takes him down quickly. AB1 falls as well as the double goes Kits his way. And, well, Red 2, I suggest that you do not leave that fountain. Not really a whole lot to be done. Once you get off those steps. But that means Wildcard are free to pursue a second lane of racks in its entirety, and they're going to show maybe a little bit of restraint here because the cores are coming back up, but yeah, realistically speaking, I think they could go in again, but there's going to be the move. They're going to try and jump onto the Ember, but this time they have to kill him. They cannot miss on this kill. They do manage to get it, but now how do they deal with Samson? Popping his Lincoln Sphere, looking to get that first life out of the way, but D&M, where's his backup? He's been hit by the Doom. He's not very tanky in the end, and they're going to be able to finish him off. Pudge down for the count. Nick stuck inside the Mystic Flare, finished off as well. Red 2 gone in the blink of an eye. And just like that, everyone's back on the bench. There are some buybacks this time around, ET, but it's not enough, and 5RAT know it. GG called.
Yeah, rough game. Tough pill to swallow, and kind of, I think, a reality check for 5RAT in their draft. I think the Pudge pick, the lane setup with the CM, it's all a great idea, but at the end of the day, they just couldn't get buildings. They couldn't get objectives. I think if they just change things around and get a Beastmaster in that Pudge pick position, then maybe we see a much different game play out, because I don't know. It just didn't look good. They have to spend their last 2 bans on protecting the Pudge, and sure, the Pudge looks great for the first 20 minutes of the game, but somehow Kits and Velhur, the stand-ins from hell, just find picks, they find kills, they find rotations, and that keeps them ahead. That stops them from falling behind. Even if they're splitting the map 3 ways, if the Scarf Mage and the Ember can get a kill every minute, well, they get a kill every minute. They get gold, they get farm, they don't fall behind. Flea gets to hold the empty lane, and 5RAT don't get the push for objectives. I mean, Wildcard went through the most defensive of items as well for their heroes. Samson had Yasha BKB on Drow, and then bought the Shard. This Drow wasn't doing anything for the first 30 minutes of this game, and then he comes back around. He becomes the carry in a situation where 5RAT don't have a real carry, and they were going for this timing tempo lineup instead, but just blows up in their face. And even their opener, I think the Rubik is a great answer versus Treant. That's nothing we can really contest, but picking the Pango into it for comfort, I feel like 5RAT really forsake everything in the draft for comfort, which is just something you really simply cannot do.
Yeah, the first half of the draft and the second half of the draft didn't really come together in the way that they thought it would. And, well, as you said, that duo on the other side, right? Kits, top kills in the game. Meanwhile, Velhur, top assists. That is exactly what you want. And I do want to point out as well for Flea, there was a point in this game he was 0-4-0, and he ends the game 1-5-13. So, yes, he was getting bullied in the lane. Yes, his teammates basically sacrificed him for the first 10 minutes, but he knew what he needed to do. He knew where he needed to be. He gave up Overgrowth one time. Whatever, you're against a Rubik, that's going to happen. But every time they needed the Overgrowth, he was there, and he was on time and on target.
Yeah, and it's the threat. It stops Red 2 from playing Pango as he would want to play Pango. And of course, once he gets the Shard, things change a little bit because, you know, it works as a Dispel, lets you purge off the Overgrowth. You get to cheat a little bit. But even then, it's not what you want to be in. It's not the position you want to have to think about in the back of your head. And it's certainly not a position where your offlaner also is an initiator, and so is your carry to a certain degree. It just felt like 5-rat all in for the tempo, and then they had none of it. So come game 2, I feel like we're going to see something very different.
We'll see what changes come. We said Wildcard needed some points pretty desperately here, ET. They've got one already. A 2-0 against 5-rat would go a long way towards boosting their chances of reaching that playoff stage. But no one's been able to take 2 off of 5-rat so far. Will Wildcard break that streak? We'll have to wait and see. Game 2 draft is coming your way in just a couple of minutes, so stick around, and we'll be right back.